From the Homestead Studios in Santa Clarita, California, it's just the Tip-Sters with Melissa Morgan.
Good day.
If you've got a tip for Melissa, a story you once heard that you think might be true, your personal brush with true crime, why it's still against the law to slap Nancy Grace for no reason whatsoever. I mean, it should be legal, right? Tell us about it by calling the Tipster hotline at 832-TIPSTER. That's 832-847-7837. Or send an email to jttipsters@gmail.com. You just might hear your tip on the podcast. And now here's your host. She hates psycho killers almost as much as she loves Ugg boots, Melissa Morgan.
Moo, cowbell. Yeah, I'm a pretty big Ugg boot fan. Let's just get that out of the way right now.
Yeah, you are, I
do.
would say.
I purchased a few recently. Was it President's Day? We went to the outlet mall. Got a couple good deals. Got some real pretty booties.
Yes, they
to add to my collection.
Yeah, there is a collection.
I got a problem.
There is a collection. It's not really a collection. It's it's a collection in the same way that the Louvre has collections. They're kind of taken over the closet. It's kind of hard to get around in there anymore.
I promise I'm going all Marie Kondo.
Sure you are.
And getting... hey, who cleaned up your side of the closet, sir?
Okay, well, mine was even messier than yours.
And
so.
it's
far less fashionable than yours.
Well, I believe you know where everything is now, and it's in very good, reachable position and order, and I will do my side of the closet. And why are we airing our dirty laundry? Just stop it.
All right.
Yes, I like Ugg boots. Let's move on.
But you do hate psycho killers. So.
I don't know that I hate them.
Oh.
I mean, hate feels like a strong word. I find much disfavor with their behavior, and I am sorry that they can't turn their, disorder into something more productive. But I mean,
that is very diplomatic.
I'm trying. It's really not. I'm not good at it right now. I'm not in my diplomacy field.
Okay.
And as far as I forgot, what was it? Was it punch? Nancy Grace?
Slap.
Oh.
No, you shouldn't.
See, I went a little more aggressive.
Well, now we know how you feel.
Well, right. If you know what I would love to see, just once.
Tell me.
I would love to see a guest on her show. Just like you said, just slap her and then see all of her makeup fly off her face. Like
that would be
a fucked up shroud of Turin, and it lands on the floor or on the wall, and it looks like, oh, did Nancy press her face here?
It would reveal. It would probably reveal some sort of natural reptilian face that she's got underneath that thing. I mean, that sneer she does, that's downright,
The eyes are very Cruella de Vil from the 101 Dalmatians. I have kind of almond-shaped eyes myself. I don't have the big, beautiful, round eyes that most of my friends do, where you can see, their entire iris. You can see about 2/3 of my iris. To see all of my iris, I need to open my eyes like someone has shocked me or stuck a finger in my butt. And... neither of which I look forward to. But Nancy Grace's almond eyes are I don't even want to be rude, but yeah, reptilian was good. She's very snake. She has snake eyes, so reptilian is good.
Yeah.
I was thinking more if you slapped her and all of her makeup flew off, she would look like a lizard, but maybe that kind of a reptile. But I'm thinking more, I think you're right. I think it's more of a snaky.
Yeah,
snake thing.
Yeah, isn't a lizard a reptile? I was thinking of a lizard. But
oh yes, they are. That's what I meant.
Yeah, I think a snake is probably better though. Now that I think about it.
Yeah, she's just and no matter how hard she tries, it's hard. Her voice is a little nails on chalkboard and
a little.
Yeah, that's just I'm very auditory. I'm not extraordinarily visual, although her blue eyeshadow does give me a form of PTSD. But auditorily,
yes,
I have a hard time listening to her. Her cadence and her accent are very bothersome
But then it's the way she holds her jaw and her lips askew when she's trying to show outrage that just makes me wanna
Wow, you're even more, I don't know, bigoted than I am. So I know you are a smile bigot and you hate Ree Drummond, the pioneer woman, but I made
hate's too strong
of a word. You just like Ree Drummond because she smiles all the time.
Yes.
Unlike Nancy Grace, who smiles,
sneers,
smiles, skamiles. Yeah. Whatever it is that she does with her mouth. So I did make one of Ree Drummond's recipes this evening for dinner, a puff pastry pizza. Say that 3 times fast and don't blow out your microphone. Puff pastry pizza. And you seem to like it.
It was good. It was good. Ree did well, but I could see her smiling through the entire thing.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have told you.
Now we're going to make a real feast for the boys who are out on the lower 40 today.
Oh, God, let it go. Sometimes I think I'm horribly judgmental, and I am. But then I hear like the things that bother you, and I'm like, I am so good. I am good.
You are. You're a very decent human being. I, on the other hand, want to take Ree Drummond and stick her smile into the what's it called, the chopper,
wood chipper,
into the wood chipper, along with the guitar player that's playing that damn acoustic guitar music in the background.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
I'm just being honest.
All right.
Just keeping it real.
No, I gotcha. So before we discuss this episode, which is so awful and disturbing and yet connects to the previous 2 episodes of the Kevin Cooper case, it does have a tangential connection, and it's pretty weird and odd, and it was brought to our attention by tipster Kathleen, and she was unfamiliar with the connection to the last 2 episodes with Kevin Cooper, but now she's aware of it. But she had brought this case to my attention. But before I mention that, I would like to say, if you like this podcast, the name is just the Tip-Sters, Tip-Sters, and we would love for you to go to iTunes and rate this podcast, subscribe. If you have a moment to write down some of your thoughts, review the podcast. If you do not like the podcast, remember the name is Death of a Salesman. So...
Death of a Salesman, the podcast.
Yeah. So if you like it, it's just the Tip-Sters. And if you don't, it's Death of a Salesman. And the host is Willie Loman.
I was going to say, this is Death of the Tip-Sters. I'm Willie Loman.
Death of the Tip-Sters?
Yeah.
No, Death of the Salesman, you dummy. Stop trying to kill me and our listeners. What is wrong with you? So you're fired as the producer.
Bye.
Death of the Tip-Sters. You combine the 2. I love it. So our phone number, if you have a show or story idea you want us to cover, is 832-TIPSTER, 832-847-7837. You can email us at any time at jttipsters, no hyphen, at gmail.com. Altogether, jttipsters@gmail.com. We have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a Twitter account. I don't know what I'm doing. I just randomly tweet out words.
You do it all right.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Just remember, don't forget that hyphen. Facebook is just the Tip-Sters, the podcast.
Right. And you'll find us. I know you'll find us. Or you'll find a 12-year-old boy's, pervert log. A blog by a 12-year-old boy who's talking about his pee-pee. Or you'll find our podcast, either one.
Right.
And another piece of housekeeping. I need to mention that beautiful, amazing, wonderful creature and her beautiful, amazing, wonderful partner have started their own podcast. Megan and Chessie, who live in Indiana, have started The Shallow Dive. And I know it's only been out a day or 2, and it's already getting some fantastic reviews, and not just by me, by other people who love them. And I know you can get it on Stitcher, and I bet you within the time you hear this, it'll be on iTunes. It just takes a little while sometimes when you're a new podcast for them to approve it. But they understood that the true crime genre is is somewhat glutted. Tell me about it, girls. And so they do things like paranormal stories, some true crime. The title of the show says it all, The Shallow Dive. And they are brilliant and funny and wonderful creatures. And their first episode, I learned so much. Chessie covered haunted or cursed movie production sets or movies.
Oh, wow.
And I found out some information I was really fascinated by, and it's really a good episode. And Megan covered a really phenomenal story that I was also familiar with, but the details were great. A young boy named Ryen kind of became the subject of a television show, The Unexplained, and a book, actually, by a doctor who sort of traveled around taking stories of people who felt they had past lives. And Ryen was very young and remembered being an actor from the 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Ooh.
And it's a really interesting episode, and I just can't wait for their next one.
What's the name of the podcast?
The Shallow Dive.
The Shallow Dive. You never tell me about the good stuff.
It just happened. Get the fuck off my back.
Okay.
I have to have some surprises, or I'll just come in here and start talking about, murdery things, and you'll start snoring.
Oh, I love the murdery thing. Now, is there any other housekeeping?
No, that's it.
Because you know how much I like to play the...
I know how much you love to play the
housekeeping drop.
Housekeeping
but
drop.
I've lost it. It's gone.
It's okay.
Housekeeping.
Oh,
Oh,
shit. You didn't lose it.
Housekeeping.
Okay. Anyway.
See, the reason I didn't tell you what I was going to say is because I didn't want that to happen. But yeah, I appreciate you having all your wonderful, fun buttons at your disposal, you weirdo. So the way this week's episode connects to the Kevin Cooper case is just fascinating and awful. The person who may have sent a killing crew to the Ryan's house is the subject of this week's episode, and his name is Clarence Ray Allen. And, when you think about people who do terrible things, you have a feeling about them, or you don't. But the feelings I have about people that are monsters, I have to process them and let them go, because if I hold on to them, I would just spend all day, every day crying. So that being said, true crime is still one of my loves and has been since I was a child. And sometimes it affects you more than others. And Clarence Ray Allen, this case sent to us by Tipster Kathleen, is one of those people that I don't understand. And I try so hard to have compassion, because how many times can you hear hurt people are the people that hurt other people? And I kind of get that for the most part, pain or punishment or abuse is passed down, and then those people that can't deal with it, process it, work it out, then they become the monsters that hurt them, and maybe even a larger way. And I just don't care about Clarence Ray Allen's childhood or what happened. And there isn't a lot known, because I think he had an inability to be honest about anything. And several people in his life who, met him, worked with him, prosecuted him, considered, overturning his death sentence, all kind of came to the same conclusion. Just, Clarence Ray Allen, #fuck you. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a more horrible person. At least, Ted Bundy killed his own victims. Clarence Ray Allen was such an awful specimen of human flesh that he had other people kill his victims.
Routinely?
Routinely.
Wow, so it's like kind of like Manson on acid.
Yeah, except he wasn't as creative or maybe as crazy. He, it can be, bandied about whether Charles Manson was really crazy or just a really good actor. And he had a pretty horrific childhood, let's be honest. But it absolutely not an excuse for what happened. And we don't really think that Charles Manson ever killed any of his victims, even the ones that may potentially be tied to him after. Some beautiful young women that were, found in the Hollywood Hills that are unsolved are now potentially being linked back to him, but not to him, to people who carried out his wishes. And Clarence Ray Allen is that guy. That guy so much that he managed to have people killed while serving a life sentence in prison.
Oh, boy.
So Clarence Ray Allen, who, when you looked at him, I looked at him and thought, oh, he might be Hispanic. Again, I'm really not good with ethnicities, and apparently I'm not good with teeth. But he was Native American, or so he says. He said he was part Choctaw. He did have a Native American look after you are given that piece of information, the high cheekbones, and he was able to grow his hair very long, even when he was older and it was white and he wore it, back, and then he started wearing a headband in prison. But let's not go there. I don't have pictures of him as a young man, and I'm kind of grateful because I might wish that someone line up he and Nancy Grace and slap the shit out of both of them. So in the 70s, he kind of called himself a mafia kingpin. And I don't think that's true. But apparently there are a lot of people who, if you tell them you're something, they'll believe you. And maybe he just...
That is true.
I think it's going to be sort of proven here that he didn't, surround himself with the smartest people. As you'll find out, that's why he ended up in prison. And the people that did the horrible things, all of them, save one who could possibly be the person who killed the Ryen family instead of Kevin Cooper. So in the early 70s, Clarence Ray Allen hanging out in Fresno and with his gang, and he owned a security guard company. Now,
that's a convenient
it's very
profession
convenient
for a serial killer.
Yeah. Well, he isn't even a serial killer. He's just a fuck up and an asshole. And I mean, all of his killings are spread out from other people, so it's hard to call them serial killers. But apparently what he wants is what other people have. So what he wants is money and items, and you don't get in his way, or he sends a lackey to kill you. So he plotted a burglary in Fresno, and Tipster Kathleen knew a few of the people who ended up being the victims. She went to school with two of them, and she said when she found out, she was just devastated because these people were such sweet, kind, wonderful people. And very few people deserve, their death, a la, the code that Dexter's father gave him. But these people were just innocent, wonderful, hardworking humans. And Clarence Ray Allen decided, I guess I want their shit. So he plotted the burglary of the Franz Market. It's an area supermarket, and it's owned by Ray and Fran Schletowitz. And Allen had known them for years. He'd gone there, been friends with them. Who knows? Maybe he provided security for them. I don't even know their connection, but he had known them for years. So his idea involves his son and two other men, his son Roger Allen and Ed Savala and Carl Mayfield. Three other men and Charles Jones. So his son is a son, but the other men had worked for Clarence Ray Allen in his security guard business. And they also were part of his burglary enterprise. So it's a perfect cover. You're a security guard, but I'll be darned if all your clients don't get robbed. So I'm not sure how long you keep your clients.
Yeah, that's got to be a little suspicious.
It's just and there's no good reason to end another's life, whether you think it's they're cheating or whether you want their insurance money. But when you find out that these people were murdered for $500 in cash and $10,000 in money orders that are stolen from the safe.
Well, yeah.
You're like, I don't. It just seems so small and so petty and so awful. So Clarence Ray Allen organizes this wonderful burglary plot against the Franz Market. So what he did, oh God, it's just so layered, and he had to work so hard to get what he netted, that if he had taken his organizational skills and used them for good instead of evil, he probably could have really done some great work in the world. So he organizes this robbery by getting someone to steal a set of door and alarm keys from the Franz Market owner's son, Byron. So Brian Schletowitz is 19. So Schletowitz is now swimming in Clarence Ray Allen's pool. So I guess they're that close.
He has a pool.
Uh-huh.
That's kind of, I'm sorry. Something about that seems very creepy too.
Oh, I think Clarence Ray Allen probably was successful, whether it was above board or from stealing his clients' everything. But yeah, so he had a lovely pool. So he arranges a date with Brian Schletowitz and Mary Sue Kitts. Now, Mary Sue Kitts is his son Roger's girlfriend. It's just, I mean, he gets his son's girlfriend to, hey, why don't you bring Brian Schletowitz over to our house? And when he takes his pants off to get his swim trunks on and get in the pool, we're going to take the set of door and alarm keys out of his pants. Oh, now, okay. Brian Schletowitz is 19 and is still pretty fucking smart and figures out, oh, I see what happened. I was swimming in Clarence Ray Allen's pool and somehow my keys got stolen.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would take too much to figure that out.
So this robbery nets $500 in cash and $10,000 in money orders stolen from the safe. So Mary Sue Kitts says to Brian Schletowitz, in case you hadn't figured it out, we didn't really have a date. I'm Clarence Ray Allen's son's Roger's girlfriend, and we got your keys, and by the way, I helped him cash some of the money orders. And Brian Schletowitz, 19-year-old Brian Schletowitz, is like, you know what? I'm not going to take this. He confronts Roger Allen and says, Mary Sue Kitts told me what happened and I figured it out. And Roger Allen said, yeah, you know what? You're right. We did it. My dad told me to, and we did it.
My dad told me to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Roger tells his dad, Clarence Ray Allen, you know what? They figured it out. They know it's us. So Clarence Ray Allen is like, you know what? Byron and Mary Sue have to be dealt with. Now, here's where he gets 3 employees of his security company, Charles Jones, Carl Mayfield, and Lee Furrow. Lee Furrow is the person who was probably in a group of 3 men who may or may not have slaughtered the Ryen family in 1983.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Lee Furrow got out of jail early because he flipped on Clarence Ray Allen.
I see.
And perhaps to avenge flipping on him, he had to be part of the group that killed the Ryans. If you'll remember in the previous 2-parter in one or both episodes that Clarence Ray Allen had a deal with the Ryen family where he collected horses, and apparently the horse deal went south, and he could have very easily sent Lee Furrow and the other members of his killing crew to the Ryen home to take care of business, because that's how he liked to take care of things, is just to obliterate the competition or the friends or anyone else he decided to get rid of at the time.
Okay.
I know. It's all very layered and ugly. But so Clarence Ray Allen calls a meeting at his house and says to Charles Jones, Carl Mayfield, and Lee Furrow, we need to take a vote. I think Mary Sue Kitts talked too much and she has to be killed. And we're going to take a vote. And the vote was unanimous because all of the men present thought, well, if we don't, kill Mary Sue Kitts, he's going to kill us.
Oh, my God.
So that's
Nobody thought to call the cops?
Well, they're all apparently really stellar human beings. So
Jesus.
Clarence Ray Allen had a way. It's interesting that you mentioned Charles Manson because Clarence Ray Allen, I think, was that kind of guy. You find people that, maybe aren't so smart or down on their luck or are looking for something, and you convince them that you're something bigger than you are. So Clarence Ray Allen had referred to himself as a mafia hitman, not even, and had told the people that work for him that, there's no such thing as the witness protection program because it's useless. Any good lawyer could find an informant's name and address. So just keep that in mind if you think you can run and hide from me. And he carried he carried a newspaper article with him about the murder of a man and a woman in Nevada. I don't think he did it, but he used that newspaper article and said, look, I blew him in half with my shotgun.
All right.
Yeah. So he orders the murder of Mary Sue Kitts by Lee Furrow. And this is the part that breaks my heart. Lee Furrow attempted to kill Mary Sue Kitts by poisoning her with cyanide, and it didn't work.
That's hard to do. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's hard to fail at killing somebody with cyanide. It's very powerful.
And Clarence Ray Allen called Lee Furrow and said, have you done it yet? Have you killed her? And Furrow said, I'm in the process of strangling her right now.
Oh, my God. He was on the phone with him?
Yep.
Okay.
And Charles Ray Allen said, do it. Do it now. So Lee Furrow kills Mary Sue Kitts, his Clarence Ray Allen's son's girlfriend, and threw her body in a canal that goes to the Kern River. And by the way, her body has never been found. Now, jumping forward, Lee Furrow's still alive, lives in Ohio, I believe, does some sort of a blue-collar job. For some reason, I'm thinking plumbing, but I could be wrong. And Kevin Cooper contacted Aaron Moriarty 48 hours and said, I'm an innocent man, and this is what happened. And Aaron Moriarty has tracked down Lee Furrow. He lucked out and that his girlfriend passed away after turning over coveralls that were covered in blood that Lee Furrow had left in her closet the day after the Ryen murders. And he says to Aaron Moriarty, I'm a good person. And
yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, we saw that together, and we both were shocked. And Aaron Moriarty, God bless her, really stepped up as a journalist because she didn't just fall, her jaw didn't fall to the floor. She said, you're a good person?
Right, but not like really incredulous. She
didn't.
She was like,
just repeated what he said.
Right,
You're a good
she
person.
did a very good job.
Yeah, she did an amazing job. I was really impressed with her coverage of that case. And he said, yeah, I'm a good person. And I said this in the Kevin Cooper episode, I think episode 1. I'm not here to say you can't be forgiven. That's not my place. I'm not here to say you can't be rehabilitated. I am here to say when you dismember a young girl who told the truth, even though she was part of something, a young girl, a 17-year-old girl, she was part of something that, she obviously felt bad about later. You dismember her and throw her into a canal and she's never found. You're not a good person.
Right, and I don't care if you can be rehabilitated. Too late.
Yeah, that's actually where I am too. So Clarence Ray Allen is in prison, and he is friends with a fellow inmate named Billy Ray Hamilton. Now, he calls Billy Ray Hamilton a good dog. And Billy Ray Hamilton is not the smartest, as you will see, smartest dude you've ever met. But he is dispatched when he gets out of Folsom Prison, he's paroled, to kill the people that testified against him in the Friends Market robbery that then becomes the Friends Market killings. So he wants Billy Ray Hamilton to kill the Schledowitz's son, Byron. And he's already had Lee Furrow kill Mary Sue Kitts. And these poor people that are innocent and just employees of the Friends Market become horrible, horrible victims and collateral damage. They just happen to be there.
Oh, my.
Josephine Rocha and Douglas White. Josephine's 17, Doug is 18. And these are the people that Tipster Kathleen went to school with and was in choir with Doug. And Doug was working at Friends Market so that his mom could retire and concentrate on selling real estate. I mean, these are good kids, beautiful, beautiful kids. So Billy Ray Hamilton gets paroled from Folsom, and on September 5th of 1980, he carries out Clarence Ray Allen's orders. So he, on a Tuesday evening, a warm September 5th Tuesday evening, he goes to the Friends Market. He uses a sawed-off shotgun, and he murders Byron Schledowitz at point-blank range in the forehead. And he kills Josephine Rocha and Douglas White after he forces them down on the floor. And he kills them.
I can't take this.
I know it's difficult, and I apologize. But it's the truth. There's an employee of the market who was shot, but he raised his arm, and Hamilton fired on it, and that saved his life. There is a neighbor who hears the commotion, Jack Abbott, and he shows up with his own gun and is friends of the Schledowitzes and is like, hey, what's going on? He goes over to investigate. Billy Ray Hamilton shoots Jack Abbott, but Abbott returns fire and wounds Billy Ray Hamilton. Now, the other employee who was managed to survive, Joe Rios, and the neighbor, Jack Abbott, they both survived, but they both, were wounded. But Jack Abbott, God bless him, is able to wound Billy Ray Hamilton. So 5 days after the Friends Market murders, Billy Ray Hamilton, the smartest guy on earth, is arrested while attempting to rob a liquor store in Modesto. And in his pocket is the hit list. 5 days later, the hit list of the names and addresses of the witnesses who testified against Clarence Ray Allen for Mary Sue Kitts' murder. And, of course, Byron Schledowitz is on the list.
And they closed down the police station for an hour so they could give him a Phi Beta Kappa. Come on.
Yeah, it's a really ugly, long, drawn-out trial. In 1980, they filed charges against Clarence Ray Allen as the mastermind. And the trial lasts 23 days, and there are 58 witnesses. And the jury finally convicts Clarence Ray Allen of triple murder and conspiracy to murder 8 other witnesses. So there's special circumstances that makes Clarence Ray Allen eligible for the death penalty because of his masterminding, planning, and the jury also finds that Clarence Ray Allen, because he had previously been convicted of Mary Sue Kitts' murder and had committed multiple murders and had murdered witnesses in retaliation for their testimony, and to prevent future testimony, they find him guilty. It was a 7-day penalty phase. And the Attorney General introduced evidence of Allen's wonderful career orchestrating all these horrible robberies in the Central Valley, 10 violent crimes, 6 prior felony convictions, and of course the jury returns a unanimous verdict of death on November 22nd of 1980. So this is really fascinating, the way the justice system has worked in this case. In 1987, the California State Court reaffirmed Allen's death sentence. And the things that judges and justices say about this, even at the time, the governor, Arnold Schwarzenegger, the things they say about this are pointed and true and sum up a lot of the way I feel. So in 1987, Supreme Court Associate Justice Joseph Grodin referred to Allen's crimes as sordid events with an extraordinarily massive amount of aggravating evidence. And in a dissenting opinion, California Supreme Court Justice Broussard stated that the prosecutor had influenced the jury by telling them, if you conclude that aggravating evidence outweighs the mitigating evidence, you should return a death sentence. And the law doesn't mandate a death sentence in that situation, but according to Justice Broussard, this led to a lack of freedom for the jury to make their own normative decision. So he overturned the death sentence. And then in 2005, the U.S. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals found that Allen's trial counsel had been inadequate, and the evidence against him was largely testimony of Allen's accomplices who painted him as the mastermind and forced, who forced them with threats. So, but the court really came up with a great idea and denied rehearing Allen's case. So in her opinion for the panel, Judge Kim Wardlaw concluded, evidence of Allen's guilt is overwhelming. Given the nature of his crimes, sentencing him to another life term would achieve none of the traditional purposes underlying punishment. Clarence Ray Allen continues to pose a threat to society, indeed to those very persons who testified against him in the Franz Market triple murder trial here at the issue, and he has proven that he is beyond rehabilitation. He's shown himself more capable of arranging murders from behind bars, and if the death penalty is to serve any purpose at all, it is to prevent the very sort of murderous conduct for which Clarence Ray Allen was convicted.
Well then.
Yeah. So Ward Campbell was a DA at the time of Clarence Ray Allen's first trial, and he then became a Deputy California Attorney General. And he said, Mr. Allen has cited his age, the length of time on death row, his claims of innocence, and errors at his trial. We told the governor we found all of those reasons to be unpersuasive given the nature of his crime, which was in fact a direct attack on the criminal justice system perpetrated by a man who society thought they were safe from because he was in prison. They thought they were safe for him because he was behind bars, and yet he continued to perpetrate these types of crimes, and none of the factors that they cite now overshadow or outbalance those reasons for now executing the judgment of the people of the state of California. And on January 13th of 2006, then California Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger refused to grant Clarence Ray Allen clemency, stating that his conduct did not result from youth or inexperience, but instead resulted from the hardened and calculating decisions of a mature man. Arnold Schwarzenegger also cited a poem in which Clarence Ray Allen glorified his actions, where Allen wrote, "We rob and steal, for those who squeal are usually found dying or dead."
Okay.
He's no Israel Keys.
No.
Definitely not a really good poet, not a really good writer.
No, it's kind of like, like a greeting card for a kindergarten class of maniacs.
Yeah, that's actually, yeah. So on January 15th of 2006, the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals denied Clarence Ray Allen's claim that executing an aged or infirm person was cruel and unusual punishment, observing that his mental acuity was unimpaired, and that he had been 50 years of age when he arranged for the murders from prison. And again, Judge Kim Wardlaw said his age and experience only sharpened his ability to coldly calculate the execution of the crimes.
Well, right.
Nothing about his current ailments reduces his culpability, and thus they do not lessen the retributive or deterrent purposes of the death penalty. United States Supreme Court declined to hear the case, and even though there was a dissent, Justice Stephen Breyer, who said, "I believe that the circumstances he raises a significant question as to whether his execution would constitute cruel and unusual punishment." So Clarence Ray Allen had said that he was diabetic, type 2 diabetic, which he was, said that he was blind and deaf. He embraced his Choctaw heritage and began wearing the headband and the feather. I mean, it's
just ridiculous.
Yeah, he looks like Tonto. It's ridiculous is a really good word. So he is executed by lethal injection on January 17th of 2006, the day after his 76th birthday in San Quentin. And he was the second oldest inmate to be executed in the United States since 1976. And he, had been in a wheelchair, said he was deaf and blind. He moved to the death chamber unassisted. He had 4 correctional officers around him, but he was moving under his own power.
Oh, so he could walk.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
To the surprise of everyone present, including the warden, he needed additional potassium to inject because Clarence Ray Allen had a surprisingly healthy heart.
Oh.
Yeah.
So he was just full of shit.
Totally.
Right up to the end.
He heard all directions given to him. He apparently turned and looked at his family during the execution, so he saw them clearly. He died with an eagle feather on his chest. He was wearing a medicine bag around his neck and his beaded headband. And shortly before his execution, he was visited by 2 Native American spiritual advisors. What I hope they said to him was, "Go toward the heat."
Oh, dear.
You like the heat.
That's pretty good.
Sorry, I did not mean to be.
No, we're not, no disrespect.
I was not disrespecting anyone.
But, boy, what's his name, Clarence?
Clarence Ray Allen.
I got the Ray part, but Clarence was not real respectful toward the Native Americans.
No, I'm not even sure. I mean, just because he had high cheekbones, so does Cher, and she's Armenian. So anyway.
Right.
His last words were, "Hoka hey, it's a good day to die. Thank you very much. I love you all. Goodbye."
Okay.
I don't know what Hoka hey is, but maybe it's like
it's Klingon.
Oh, okay. So
no, I don't know.
It's not native. It's not a native thing. So this is my favorite part. His last meal. He died at 12:38. Na 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 na. Hey hey hey. Fuck you, Clarence Ray Allen. There were 250 death penalty opponents who gathered for a candlelight vigil outside San Quentin, which is, I understand. I really do understand so much better now not employing the death penalty only because of the number of people who may have been executed who were innocent. But this guy, this is what the death penalty was made for this guy. So his last meal was buffalo steak and fry bread, which are traditional Native American dishes, a bucket of KFC white meat only chicken, 'cause he's racist.
Yeah.
Sugar-free pecan pie, sugar-free walnut ice cream, and whole milk.
Yeah, because, if he had the sugared ice cream and pie, he might go into a diabetic coma.
That would just be awful.
Yeah.
So now this is a really fun part for me. The ice cream was left out to thaw for an hour so he could turn it into a milkshake by hand.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So Billy Ray Hamilton, the, Phi Beta Kappa, who was the person who fired the sawed-off shotgun that killed Josephine Rocha, Douglas White, and Byron Schletowitz. He was given the death penalty, but he died in 2007 in a San Joaquin Valley hospital from natural causes. And he was 57 years old. And Doug White's parents, Roy and Nadine White, who've lost their 18-year-old son, who, by all accounts, is an exceptional young man, and a personal account from Tipster Kathleen, a wonderful young soul who had his whole life ahead of him. Roy and Nadine White, his parents, wonder why Billy Ray Hamilton got to live 27 years after their 18-year-old son was murdered in just minutes. They are angry that they and other taxpayers had to pay to keep Billy Ray Hamilton alive for 27 years. And Mr. White said he should have been shot outside the market, and I'm glad that he suffered. And they know that Clarence Ray Allen was the mastermind, but Billy Ray Hamilton didn't have to enact Clarence Ray Allen's plans, but he did, and left a note in his pocket because he's really smart. Now, Mr. White has an idea, and I understand where he's coming from, but it would never happen in our legal system. But he says once someone has been convicted of a murder and is given the death penalty, it should take 72 hours from conviction to execution. Now, I understand that's how he feels, and he is angry at Billy Ray Hamilton being kept alive at his expense. He says, we paid for all that. We kept him alive and kicking and causing more problems. We paid to keep him alive. And he also says, I don't want this to keep going. We're both glad he's dead, speaking for his wife. And it's an interesting idea to think that if you're convicted, that 72 hours later, you could be executed. And I understand that's, we give prisoners a speedy trial, but not a speedy execution. But I don't blame Mr. White. I understand why he feels the way he feels. And I know that our justice system, I still have all the faith in the world in it. And I know it takes a long time. And those checks and balances can sometimes, especially depending on what side you're on, can be so frustrating. Many people have lost years, decades of their life serving time for things they didn't do. But I'm sure they're grateful that they've served time for things they didn't do as opposed to lost their life, even though you can debate that it's not much of a life living in prison. You still have a life, and you can keep your mind free. Your mind doesn't have to be in prison, which is, I think, probably some of the ways that people survive in prison, whether they're guilty or not. But for people like Clarence Ray Allen, who offer no remorse, who have other people do their dirtiest of work, the most awful thing is to take another person's existence. You don't just take their life. You take the life of everyone who loves them, who knows them. It's just 72 hours would have been too long to keep Clarence Ray Allen alive. And more cowbell.
Remember, if you've got a tip for Melissa, call us at 832-TIPSTER, that's 832-847-7837, or send an email to jttipsters@gmail.com.
Nothing about his current ailments reduces his culpability, and thus they do not lessen the retributive, oh, fuck me,